So Pat McAfee hosted a live show at Steelers training camp today. And the fans let their voices be heard.
Baby Cam.
Anybody can get it right now.
It's a turnover, so we'll run something like that.
All right, immediately upon hearing Joe Burrow's name, they send him their best wishes. How much do you love people thinking that you lost it? How much do you love that? How much do you love people thinking that you lost it? Legitimately, how much?
As I was watching this, I thought, did we go too far here? Is this unclassy? Perhaps a little too cringy? And then I saw what Cam Hayward was doing during the F. Myles Garrett chants.
Baby Cam. Baby Cam.
That's Cam Hayward. That's Mr. Pittsburgh Steeler for the last decade. Walter Payton Man of the Year. The shining beacon for how Steeler Nation should behave. Both players, fans. So, if he's about the jankiness, who am I to say whether or not things crossed the line today? Maybe it's just what the doctor ordered. It was the exact energy we needed heading into 2025 with this new squad.
I love the Yinzers.
The chants, they felt so wrong, but also so right at the same time. Let's fucking go. Oh, and there was a 13-9 chant thrown in there too. I appreciated that. Held a pit.
Starts and ends with him.
13 times.
13 what?
But today was the first padded practice for the Steelers. Yesterday got rained out. They did some indoor stuff in a gym, but didn't really count. It was more like a walkthrough. So first padded practice. And I don't know if I'm off on this, or you guys let me know if I'm wrong, but like, did they stop? Did the Steelers or something make an announcement to stop the fan clips from being posted on social media and on Twitter? Because I really couldn't find much content outside of just play-by-play tweets on what was going on today. The only two videos I saw was Calvin Austin cooking Darius Slay and Aaron Rodgers showing some mobility in the pocket and finding Jonnu Smith for a goal line touchdown. That was it. So I'll react to that, and also some of the other stuff I've been seeing, like the guys that were winners, the main highlights, at least through text from, what I observed that way of today's first padded practice. But Calvin Austin, it seemed like that was a theme today. He was getting open. He was making plays. And also, piggybacking off of the segment I did last week on Calvin Austin and him stepping up and being a leader on offense, he was getting chippy with the defense. Calvin Austin with that 5'7.5" frame, going back and forth with Jalen Ramsey, who's tall, physical cornerback, Hall of Famer. Dude's not backing down from anything. You like that. And as we said, the action is backing up Calvin Austin's talk that we got to hold each other accountable. We got to get back to our Super Bowl winning ways. And there's certain things that need to take place for us to get there. And there's another thing right here, man. It's like, no, we're not punks. Like, all right, you're going to take a cheap shot or you're going to get physical with the offense. It's like, no, we're going to stand up for ourselves. And Calvin Austin, despite his small frame and being small in stature, saying size don't matter. There's other things that can be brought to the table. At least that's what I've heard. Mark Robinson had himself a day. Mark Robinson balling out. And you could do a lot worse as your fourth inside linebacker. I was talking a lot yesterday about the Steelers' depth, and we have it across the board on defense. We might be lacking in it a little bit on the offensive line, but still have it from a quarterback and a weapon standpoint. And inside linebacker, Mark Robinson is your fourth guy, a dude that's really solid in special teams, having himself a day. Not a bad thing to see. Definitely not. Because we let Landon Roberts go, and we still have Cole Holcomb here as our third guy. We're expecting Peyton Wilson to take that step up, be a full-time starter along with Patrick Queen. But to have that dude that's just willing to go all out there in the run stopping, and I mean, don't get me wrong, Peyton Wilson, Patrick Queen, Cole Holcomb, good at run stopping. Like, let's not get it twisted there. But to have that guy that's just willing to just do whatever it takes to get in the backfield and just use his body as like a human missile, that's what a Landon Roberts was. right? That's very reminiscent. Or Mark Robinson's game is very reminiscent of Landon Roberts. So he has that type of niche, that type of unique skill set that I'm not saying the other guys are lacking, but I think it's just what sets Mark Robinson apart a little bit from the guys that we already have in-house. Better overall linebackers, obviously, ahead of Mark Robinson. But still, maybe there's a little spot for Mark Robinson on his team. He's been a forgotten-about player. At least he could contribute special teams. And, again, for your fourth inside linebacker, you could do much worse. Yeah, that Rodgers touchdown was nice to Jonnu Smith. Still seems like the offense is working out some kinks. There were some drops by receivers. The 4 tight end set, the unique formation that was actually dropped as a hint from Aaron Rodgers on the Pat McAfee show, because he was asked what does he like about Arthur Smith's system and the playbook. He's like, listen, he's willing to be versatile. And with some of the guys that we have on this offense, particularly our tight end room, who knows? You might see us out there with a 4 tight end set.
4 great tight ends. We could actually do 04 personnel, which is 4 tight ends on the field. When you could put Jonnu and Darnell and Pat and Connor on the field, it's pretty special.
He said that on McAfee before we went out there and practiced, and then what do you know? There is literally a 4 tight end set out there with Jonnu Smith in the backfield. And then I also saw another tweet that we had Pat Freiermuth playing fullback for a little bit. It's like, all right, how is that 4 tight end set really going to be useful? I'm really wondering. Because it's one thing to have this versatility and to be using like gadget, unique formations. If it benefits you, I'm just want the 4 tight end set. Not having a running back out there and having Jonnu Smith in the backfield. How does that benefit us? Let me think through this right now. Live. You come out 4 tight end set. I guess you could motion Jonnu Smith from out the backfield and you have him as a receiving threat. Or you could have like 4 or 5 wide. Could you? I guess. Do something like that. Go from like a goal line formation. I don't see it. I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see the 4 tight end set being that useful. Maybe in the red zone. I don't know. Yeah, maybe red zone. Maybe red zone. Maybe. You guys let me know. Has anyone done it before? Is this just us trying to be different? If it works, it works. I don't care. If it works, it works. But sometimes when you get into the gimmicky stuff, and like I was saying in the past with Matt Canada and doing some of the trick plays and jet sweeps and shit, it's like, all right, bro. Even last year at times whenever Russ was the main quarterback and we'd have Justin Fields in there for certain packages, I'd rather just go down with the best players at their main positions, at their rightful positions, than trying to get cute with it and do some of this 4 tight end shit. Like 3 tight ends and a running back, I could see that being useful. I don't know about this 4 tight end thing. Don't know. I have my question marks about it. That's all. And I think that's it for on the field stuff for today. Wanted to get back to some of this McAfee show stuff because the McAfee show was live at Latrobe for Steeler training camp, and they had a lot of Steeler guests run through from TJ Watt, Cam Hayward, Aaron Rodgers, Danny Smith, Omar Khan, Mike Tomlin, and Rodgers made some headlines in his answers, nothing controversial or anything like that, but he was asked about Mike Tomlin and what Mike Tomlin being his coach means to him, and Rodgers wanted to silence the Tomlin critics with his answer.
Mike T is the man. Any hate, disrespect, and the ilk is complete and utter bullshit.
Hell yeah.
Mike T is the man. From day one that we talked on the phone in the offseason, I was never talking to a head coach. I was talking to a friend. I respected the hell out of that. I have crazy respect for him. The way that he leads the room, the way that he talks in the team meeting, the way he is at practice. The surprise has been just what a great dude he is, what a great leader he is. on top of what I already expected, which was already high based on what I thought from afar. But being able to see it in person is incredible. He's the type of guy that every great coach makes you want to play for. And what I mean to expand on that is you care so deeply about the person, you don't want to let him down. And that's the aura and that's the respect that Mike has from his players, that you want to play for this guy because you know how much he cares and you don't want to let him down.
That's 100% fair. I'll just say this. Rodgers hasn't been here for Tomlin's last, 17, 18 years, and in particular the last 7 or 8 years. No one, like what Rodgers brings up is why everyone likes Tomlin. Like I didn't want to get rid of Tomlin. I didn't want to. I think it just came down to at the end of the season and how we lost that wild card game and how we've lost all these other playoff games the last 5 times and how we haven't had a playoff win in 8 years or something like that. You just looked at it and you're like, the results are the results. Like, man, sometimes things just run their course and it might be better for both sides to part ways. Like, I don't think there was no disrespect, there was no hate or anything like that. And I think that's the majority of people that were questioning whether or not Mike Tomlin was best for the Steelers head coach for this season and going forward. In January, going back to January, I think with how obviously the offseason played out and Tomlin being a big part of the changes and all that stuff, I'm happy Tomlin's here, 100%. Don't get it twisted. But there was no disrespect or anything like that. Now, there probably is some of that. There's extremists. There's outliers where the criticisms go too far on Tomlin. He's a Hall of Fame coach. He's been a great coach here. I appreciate everything he's done, and hopefully things start to get back on track with the changes that we've made. But what Rodgers is bringing up in terms of Tomlin being like a great person, a great leader, a guy that players want to play for, and has a good relationship with the players, all that stuff is like, I don't question that. I just question the results. That's all. That's really my only criticism. Coaches have been let go for far less than the Steelers' lack of playoff success with Tomlin at the helm over the last however many years. That's all. Again, I'm happy Tomlin's back. I was one of Tomlin's biggest defenders over the last 2 or 3 seasons when everyone was calling for him to get fired in the middle of Kenny's rookie year and in the middle of 2023. I was like, we got to give him another chance. We're going through a transition period after Big Ben. Let's see this play out. And then last year was and I said it from the jump, last year was a critical year. It was, because of all the different turnover, all the different changes, moving off of Pickett, bringing in Russ, Fields and stuff. We need to see better, and we didn't get better, and Tomlin's been the constant over these last however many years. So, yeah, you just wonder if things ran their course and that we were just going to always be the same old Steelers. It would just be the same dynamic with Tomlin at the head. But I think we got enough shake-up this offseason that Tomlin is the right guy for the job here, at least for 2025. At least for 2025, this was the right move by the Steelers. Bringing back Tomlin, bringing in Rodgers, all the trades. The excitement is there. Rodgers also talked about whether or not because this is kind of interesting, whether or not he's going to be doing the Pat McAfee show on Tuesdays throughout the course of the season, and here's what he and Omar Khan had to say about that.
And will you be joining us on Tuesdays or no? Did they tell you can't?
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. You talk to Bert over there.
No. Aaron Rodgers on Tuesdays. How did the Pittsburgh Steelers organization feel about that particular?
You know what? We have a PR director, Bert. I'll let you discuss that with him.
We got our answer. Ladies and gentlemen.
From the sounds of it, it doesn't seem like Rodgers is going to be doing the McAfee show. It seems like it's definitely up in the air. And I have 2 differing opinions on this. From just the Steelers standpoint, Steelers organization standpoint, and trying to keep the team organization completely locked in, no distractions. I hope he doesn't do it. For what I do as a living, it would be great content. It would be something to talk about every Tuesday. So I don't know. It sounds like it's either he's not doing it Like, that's already been decided, or like Steelers are on the fence and maybe they're gonna come to some sort of like happy medium where maybe he does it once a month or something like that. That would be my guess. I mean, yeah, I hope he doesn't do it. I'm about the Steelers winning and trying to get back to the Super Bowl over my job. Sacrifices need to be made. So, like, even though the Rodgers McAfee show every Tuesday appearance would be great for the content, great for the views, great for something to talk about, I prefer the Steelers just winning. That's what I want. Because winning's good for business, too. That don't hurt. Last thing, because we talked a little bit about Tomlin. He did an interview with McAfee as well, and he was asked about Aaron Rodgers, and this goes back to what I've been belaboring on. I guess this is just more me taking a victory lap by pulling up this clip. Tomlin was asked if it feels different having Aaron Rodgers here compared to some of the quarterbacks in the past post Big Ben. And this is what Tomlin said.
With all due respect to everyone who's played quarterback since 7, they're Steelers, so we love them forever. But does it feel different when you look across and you see 8? Kaboli said this is the most crowded it's been in the last 15 years here, it felt like to him. But, so it feels different to the fans. Does it feel different to you when you look over and you're like, okay, since Ben, that's Aaron Rodgers?
You're damn right it does. It feels pretty good, too.
Yeah, but
just the possibilities,
correct.
Man. To have a guy like that, man, in your huddle, in your locker room, a part of your group, it certainly gives us all great confidence.
Tomlin didn't feel that way. We wouldn't have waited and eventually signed Rodgers and bypassed bringing back Russ and bringing back Fields and going through this whole offseason the way that we did. I mean, he's just being honest, and the actions back it up. And it goes hand in hand with what I was saying way back in like January, February, when you guys, not all you guys, but a portion of you guys were like, F no, don't bring in Aaron Rodgers, this and that. I was like, it needs to be a legitimate option. It needs to be, because that's Aaron Rodgers, bro. You heard what Tomlin just said. That's Aaron Rodgers. Even a 41, that's worth taking a swing on, especially how he ended last season. We couldn't run it back with what we had, and you look at all the options that are out there. It's either like you bring back Fields and hope he develops into the guy because of his talent. But obviously Tomlin, Steelers, didn't think Fields was going to be capable of doing that to that extent. I mean, we threw an offer out there for him, but we weren't that set on him coming back, clearly. We weren't pushing for it that much because we could, if we really wanted Fields, we could have had Fields. Just match the Jets offer or have a couple more million than the Jets offer. We could have done that. If we really wanted Russ back, we could have done it. We knew we needed to go a different direction. We knew we needed elite quarterback play in here, and Aaron Rodgers returning to form is a path for that. It was Aaron Rodgers returning to form, trading for Stafford. We know that got the kibosh got put on that early on, or Fields developing. And with how everything played out, Rodgers getting less money than Fields for a year, I think that it clearly the Steelers did the best they could this offseason trying to build a contender. Let's just say that. I think they did the best with how they handled quarterback, did the best they could with handling the roster too. We talk about the timing of some of the moves, picking straight, all this and that, but we're in a good spot, man. We're in a good spot. And I've been mentioning that on shows pretty consistently. We just need the season to start now. We need something else to talk about other than the Steelers offseason and the moves we made and training camp. We need some games, man. Preseason's coming up. I think, is it next week? Yeah, Saturday next week. So that's going to be exciting. That's it for today's show. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Stay chilling. Peace.